afternoon, guys. Mark Angelo here, making another video, answering some more questions and certain things that I wanted to touch upon. Um, I got a comment on one of my videos a few days ago. And it reads as follows. I've been watching your videos for a long time now, and I find your content to be really insightful. I don't know if you've talked about this before, but was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the effects of testosterone long term. You're one of the very few men of transgender experience on YouTube that have been on testosterone for quite a long time. I'm seriously considering going on T, but still feel really scared about the long-term effects it might have on my health. I was hoping that you would talk a little bit about it, how it has been for you, and possibly dismantle some common myth. Thank you for sharing your journey and being so honest about it. Hope you're having a good day. Well, thank you, Isa Nunez. Let me see if I break this down. I think my head's being cut off here. We live in a very synthetic world, and just about everything that we ingest, that we breathe, that we put on ourselves could have an adverse reaction, adverse effect, especially if it's done long term, because receptors become oversaturated. I believe that endocrinology is still at its infant state. I think that we are still experiencing lack of information because there hasn't been long-term studies with any form of HRT. There have been some studies done on women who have taken estradiol after menopause. There have been some studies with men who have been on hormonal replacement because although it's not talked about much with men, we do go through some sort of menopause, as the testosterone level starts to drop. There are effects such as depression, anxiety, weight gain, gynecomastia, all sorts of different things that happens to the body. We have to understand that women and men are not as different as most people want to believe. There is a reproductive system that during gestation and during development in the fetus, and depending on the SRY gene, hormonal bathing, and things of that nature, which is, I'm not going to go all into that detail here, there is a small difference. The glans clitoris becomes the glans penis, ovaries drop and become testicles, things of that nature. But same material is made from, it's a default system is what I'm trying to get at. It's undifferentiated. Yeah, that's the word. But people make a bigger deal about it than what it actually is. Okay, you have a lot of intersexuality in this day and age. A lot more. The new science proves that this whole chromosome XXXY was BS. It was like not founded. It was, and we did a show on this, and I'm not going to repeat everything again here. If you're interested, it's you'll see the little thing, the little XY and the little JPEG of the show, and we go into details there about it. But I regress. Any synthetic is going to create an adverse reaction in your body long term. This happens with food. This happens with other medications. It's the way it is. We are natural beings, and every time we put unnatural things in our body, it creates problems within the cell. Now, in saying that, there is absolutely nothing that's bulletproof. In other words, there is absolutely nothing that you take that doesn't have side effects. From the coffee you drink, from the food you eat, from the air you're breathing. There's always side effects. There's free radicals that being formed. The body, might create tumors. You might create plaque in your arteries. I mean, there's all sorts of things that happen. So what can you do about it? Well, you could stop drinking alcohol. because every time you drink, your liver is really put under a massive amount of stress, and then it doesn't allow your liver to take care of other things to be able to detoxify you, right? So you add less toxins if you know that you're taking on a synthetic hormone. Okay, so how do you do that? Well, you try to eat as clean as possible, stay away from processed foods, stay away from alcohol. That's the number one thing. I don't understand how trans people drink as much as they do. I used to at one point in my life, and that's, hey, we all have different reasons. You're trying to drown away your childhood traumas, the PTSD, whatever it is, but it's not helpful. So if you know you're going to be on hormones, the number one thing you need to do is cut out alcohol. Another thing you need to do is work out. Another thing you need to do is learn how to handle stress. Damage control is the name of the game. You don't want to add more insult to injury. There is no one that can say that there are no dangers in taking hormones. Of course, any medication that you put in your body has side effects, i.e. dangers. It could lead to one thing into another. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. When you go under the knife, no matter what procedure, no matter how simple it may be, just the fact that you're going under general anesthesia can bring on complications. So there's no guarantee. So if you're going to embark on this journey, you have to be aware of what you're doing. You have to realize that it does come with risks. Do the risk outweigh the benefit? That's up to you. That's all you. When I hear these detransitioners speak up now, and I did the same thing, okay? I did the same thing because it's like we're trying to make sense of what we did, and due to the shame that we have been, put under, our own insecurities, whatever it is, we try to justify what we did and try to villainize it because that would make us feel better. Oh, this was wrong and no one should do this and it blah, 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 blah. You heard me speak in the past, which that was all fear, guilt, shame, religiosity speaking. That wasn't coming from my heart, okay? So once you work through your issues, and once you realize, this is my best life, this is how I feel most comfortable, it's going to take time for you to realize that. Because all those chattering voices in your head, stemming from your mother, your father, your siblings, the pastor, rat fams, people online, you get all that in your head, and, we're human. We're human, and sometimes we let things get to us. And you let things get to you because you're not strong enough in your own thinking process. But once you get strong enough in your thinking process and you've been able to dissect the situation, it took me 4 or 5 detransition to figure out, hey, this is who I am. I'm not going to listen to the naysayers. I'm not going to worry about what anybody else says. I'm going to be happy. Because I ultimately can't make anybody else happy. And that's what I was trying to do. That was all the detransing and trancing and detransing and trancing. And a lot of people give me grief about that. Listen, I'm not hiding it. So for you to point it out, it's asinine. Because I know what I did. I know what I've done. And it helped me. If it didn't help you, that's your problem. But it helped me. It's my life. And I needed to do what I needed to do. So by you trying to shame me and trying to bring it up, do you think it helps anything? No, it doesn't. And those of you that are detransitioning, and I've read lots and lots of comments on, oh, this is not for anyone. No, it may not be for you at the moment. See, when you detrans, you're kind of putting it on hold. That's what detransitioning is. You stop your transition. You're putting it on hold. Some people do it because they got fired, they need to work again, and they couldn't work as the gender they transitioned to. There are very many different reasons why people detrans. Some people it is the realization that it's not for them, and that's okay too. No one should shame detransitioners, no one should shame transitioners. You need to learn to accept people for where they're at. When you hear people shaming, it's because they're dealing with their own demons. their own insecurities. And I understand that. And I'm to blame. I've done a lot of that in the past. It's not justifying it, but a lot of that was PTSD. A lot of that was hurt. As I've mentioned before, hurt people hurt people. Life is not linear. We're going to take many detours. And detours are good at times. It gives you time to reflect. It gives you the time to think. So, answering your question, Isa Nunez, there is absolutely not a single medication that a person takes that is without risk. This is one of the reasons why doctors do blood work to find out how your body is handling the hormone, what your levels are. Is your cholesterol up? Is your triglycerides up? How are your liver values? When I used to drink, my liver values were off. When you take testosterone, you drink, you're putting a lot of strain on your liver. I don't drink anymore. It's not worth it to me to have a couple of drinks that's going to make my liver get messed up. It's not worth it. I'm 55 years old. I've been on testosterone. I'm taking androgen since 1998. That's quite a long time. I've stopped several times just to allow my receptors to regenerate. Sometimes we get oversaturated. I find that that's a good thing for people to do. Again, you have to talk to your doctor and find out if your doctor agrees with that. Giving yourself a little break from the synthetic hormones. And the positive with that is when you start again, it's like you get a new boost. Because sometimes people get like on an even kill and they see no more changes. You stop for a little bit, maybe 3 months. I've stopped. My longest time without testosterone, I think, has been a year. And that wasn't even detransition. That was just me taking care of my health, so that I wouldn't get any problems. But, everyone's an individual, and you have to find yourself a good doctor that's open-minded, that's willing to work with you, that has a lot of experience. And that's hard to find because this is relatively new. But if a doctor's invested in what they're doing, they will do the research, they will get up with the latest information, and they will help you out. But you've got to do your part. And your part is making sure you eat right, don't smoke, don't drink, exercise, keep a healthy mind, meditate, go out in nature. Don't always think about the glass being half empty. You could always, get upset about something if you allow it. But if you let yourself not be that kind of negative Nancy and look at the bright side of everything, life gets a lot better. What you think, you create. I know a lot of people don't believe in that, but your mind is very strong and can make things happen. So, I'm not worried. I know that I listen to my body. If I find, any reasons where I need to cut out the tea again for a little while, I will. It's always good to give your body a break. Clean out the system. Detoxify. Put all good things in there. The body's amazing. The body will heal itself if you put the right ingredients in there. And that's not just talking about food, but even your thought process. This is not me just saying this. There's a lot of science that prove that as well. Anyway, I hope I've answered your question. I hope you guys have a great day. It's Saturday, and we're going to go out in a little while. Just probably go out to eat and just check out, I don't know, where Linda has planned for us to go today. I usually, like for her to say what.
Swap meet.
It's like a swap meet?
Yeah.
Okay, so, because I'm easygoing. I do whatever, But yeah, just, take care of your emotional health and physical health. And know that if you have to get on testosterone or estrogen if you're an MTF, do realize that it's not something that you want to probably be on forever, especially as you get older, if you could help it. And if you are going to be on it, make sure that you do damage control. It's as simple as that. All these horror stories and all these fear mongering stuff, don't let it get to you. Don't go there because your mind will create it. Um, I was reading this article on that some mother of a transgender person wrote, and obviously the article is called, or it's in lifesitenews.com.
Oh, that's a part of Family Research Council.
Oh, part of, okay. And it's called, the article is called, After Reading These Horror Stories of Transgender Regret, How Can You Buy Starbucks? You know, because there's been a commercial out, Starbucks is, you know, pro-trans, I guess, or something like that. But reading the words of this woman, you know, and it's so like her-centered. It's like a lot of these parents think that we are an extension of them, that everything we do reflects on them. So it's not much about that they care about their child. It's about how it looks on her. And, you know, she's talking about seriously considered killing herself, the mother, you know, desperate, tormented, and out of option, and even went to a therapist to deal with the fact that her kid was trans. How should she cope? She cried knowing that two of her children wanted nothing to do with her. Two children who, through horrible, look at the words here, dramatic, mutilating surgeries. They're not mutilating surgeries. They're surgeries that we do to make ourselves feel better, you know, to align ourselves. Destroyed the body she carried inside her. Did you see the ownership here? Do you see it's all about her? How dare you destroy what I created, right? That's the mentality. I felt I was living in a dream, a nightmare. That nightmare, the one she wouldn't wish on her worst enemy, is real. And from now on, every time you walk through the door of Starbucks, you're telling moms like Lynn, you couldn't care less. Seriously, people? I mean, this is just disgusting to me, you know, because it's like I hear this and I hear the same thing that my mom was thinking the day that I underwent my surgeries. You know, that she couldn't stop it. This mother said, I couldn't stop it. You know, it's like she didn't have control. And they are mothers and even fathers that feel that if they have no control of their children, you know, like they own us, like we're their property, you know. So this article was like just let me realize that these parents that are fighting against transgender people because they don't want their kids to be trans, you know, because they don't have the empathy, compassion, and understanding that it's not about them, but it's about their child's happiness. These articles are just repulsive, and this is what is being pushed by these so-called family groups that are of religious nature. And people, you need to really wake up to what's taking place. This is a political war. This is a religious war. This is a war of some women who can't stand to lose control, so they're making everybody else the enemy. And, you know, my advice is let people live. Let people be. This is not about you. All right, guys. Love you, but remember to always love yourselves too. Goodbye.